Hey everyone, Rich Bennett here. I'm excited to tell you about something we're doing for National Recovery Month. Here at Conversations with Rich Bennett, we're holding a special event called the Podathon for Recovery, 12 Days of Hope. For 12 consecutive days, we'll release a new episode dedicated to powerful conversations about addiction, recovery, and hope. And we're doing this to raise vital funds for an incredible nonprofit, Rage Against Addiction. They are on the front lines providing sober living homes, recovery coaching, and essential support to families. We believe recovery is a journey worth celebrating, and your support can make a tangible difference. Every donation, no matter the size, goes directly to them, helping to save lives and provide a second chance. So please join our mission. You can start donating right now. Simply go to conversationswithrichbennett.com and you'll see the donation thing right there so you can donate and help these women in recovery. Welcome to a special episode of Conversations with Rich Bennett. This is a part of our Podathon for Recovery, 12 Days of Hope, our mission to raise money for Rage Against Addiction. My co-host Wendy Beck and I will be sharing powerful stories of addiction, recovery, and resilience to help break the stigma and show that hope is always possible. Your support helps Rage Against Addiction provide life-changing resources, and you can donate right now by visiting our GoFundMe link in the show notes. We are so grateful you've joined us on this important journey. Now let's get into today's conversation. So this is another special episode, and for this month, we have the Podathon going. So those of you listening, make sure you make the donation because all the proceeds go to Rage Against Addiction, and it's going to help all of these women that are in recovery that go through Rage Against Addiction. And Wendy has brought on a special guest again, but I'm going to let Wendy do the introductions and everything because I'm just going to sit back and relax as usual.
All right, that sounds good to me. I'd like to welcome Kayla to the podcast. Hi, Kayla. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This month, we're going to do a number of podcasts that are dealing specifically with recovery. We have men and women that we're interviewing, and you're our first. Okay. So I wanted to just dive.
Don't you feel special?
I do feel special. I'm actually a little overwhelmed right now because it's like.
Take a breath. Cool. Take a breath. Yes. And she said this was her first
So you're
time.
going to remember this moment. Because a lot of people don't remember their first. Wait a minute, that was wrong. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You always remember your first.
Well.
So we're going to dive right in and we're going to talk to Kayla about her recovery. So I prepared some questions for you and you had an opportunity to look over them. So I just wanted to, make you feel comfortable and we'll just kind of dive right in. Can you start with sharing a bit about your recovery story and what led you to seek recovery?
So, I will have 5 years clean at the end of this month.
Okay, congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you, on July 24th. And, I guess a little bit about my recovery is I work a program, I sponsor women. I have a home group. That's a key part of me staying clean and a key part of my recovery. And, I think what brought me to my recovery is just the exhaustion. My active addiction was the worst part of my life. And
right.
It was just something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And I think, just living the way I lived for so long, the exhaustion of that lifestyle and the toll that it took on me mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all those things just is what I just got to the point where I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Okay.
And I decided to make a change.
And how long did your active addiction last or back and forth? Were you in recovery and out of recovery?
So I got high for the first time when I was somewhere between 12 and 14, I believe. And I'm 32 now and I have 5 years clean. So You can do the math.
Right. No, okay.
Wow.
So it went on for quite some time. I think there was like a 3 or 4 year stretch that was just like the worst of it because, you know, it always starts out as like it's fun and it's like a casual using and with friends. And then it just kind of progresses from
Spirals.
there. Yeah. So, I mean, there was like a window that was like, this was just like the worst of it. But it was a long stretch of me, you know, using substances to just cope with life and get through.
And what was your biggest turning point or wake up moment for you during the journey that made you turn the corner?
So I can't really say that it was just like one moment in particular, like a aha moment.
Right.
I think it was like a collective of just all the things, all the just terrible things that came from active addiction. But there is like a moment in particular. So I didn't have the greatest childhood. And when I was probably like 8 or 9, I lived in the middle of nowhere in Harford County, not a lot of kids around. A family moved in next door to me, and this wonderful woman had these 3 kids, and they were like a saving grace for me. And the middle child, her daughter, I'm actually still really close with to this day. I'm getting married in October, and she's my maid of honor.
Aw,
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But she, in March of 18, her older brother that I loved dearly passed away to this disease.
Okay.
And like, they were always like a safe space for me, like when I didn't have one. Like they were like one of the good things I had in my childhood. So it impacted me profoundly when he died. And she had, you know, grief is different for everyone. Mm-hmm. And she, you know, had kind of disassociated for a while and like hadn't like struggled to process his grief. And like, I hadn't really seen her cry and things like that. And I'll try to make it a little shorter, but
no, take your time.
Oh, you're fine.
She had figured out, you know, I think within like a year after his passing that I was using. You know, I remember seeing her one day and I nodded out in front of her, and I remember kind of coming to and like the look on her face. She was just like, I've never seen you like that. And that's what she said to me. And then a few weeks that followed, she came to my house, and I remember her just sitting on my bed, and like I hadn't even seen her grieve for her brother. And she just started crying profusely. And she looked at me and she said, Kayla, I know that you're trying, but I need you to try harder.
Aww.
And
that's a powerful moment.
Yeah. And it became like a mantra for me, like, because I wanted to get clean. I didn't, thank you. I didn't.
I'm not throwing it at you guys.
I didn't know how, you know,
Okay.
And she knew that I wanted it. And like, I'm like, I'm trying, I am, because I wanted it. I just didn't know how. And like I said, it became a mantra for me. Like, it was just like in my mind, I was like, just try harder. Because that moment of seeing her break down and like the pleading look in her eyes.
Right. Like, I don't want to lose you too.
Yes. Like it. So that,
Like
that,
a sister to her.
yes. And that was like just a strong moment for me, seeing her break in that moment and kind of almost like plead for my life. So that, I think that would probably be like, that was just powerful for me. And like I said, it.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine. But you were in a position where you wanted to, because you said you were trying, but you didn't know how. And I think that that's a really interesting thing to say, because I don't know if people really do know how. So what did your early recovery look like?
So, actually, you know, her brother's passing was like pivotal to my recovery. Like he had passed, like I said, in March of 18. And I coped with that by using more drugs. Like I remember being at his service and like I couldn't hold my head up. Like I was just so high that I couldn't hold my head up. And you know, it got worse because I didn't know how to cope. And I had tried after that, like I had this fear instilled in me, right? And I had tried after that to stop using. And, you know, the program I work has literature, and I don't know if I'm allowed to quote it or
Sure.
There's something in the literature that says we were using against our own will. And that's where I was, right? Like I didn't want to anymore. Like my mind would be like, no, don't do this. And my body would say go. And like I would try to stop using. And that's when like the withdrawals would set in and I would get really sick. And I had gone to another longtime friend of mine and I went to her and I told her that I couldn't stop and that I was scared. And she was like, okay, I'm going to show up and take you to a meeting on like the following Tuesday or something like that. And lo and behold, the following Tuesday, she shows up at my house and she's like, are you ready? And I'm like, what? And
Like it's Tuesday?
It's like, no, like I'm high now. I'm good. Like breakdown averted for that moment, you know?
Right.
And she, I didn't even realize I knew that I was broken, but she had taken me to that meeting and like I walked in the door and I felt this sense of like relief.
Mm-hmm.
And she sat with me that whole hour and held my hand. And I just sat and sobbed uncontrollably.
Wow.
Because I had kind of turned into everything I didn't want to be. I was like lost and broken and all the things. And I felt in the rooms like I still feel today that it was a safe space for me to kind of let out everything that I was holding. And that's how I was introduced to Narcotics Anonymous. So that's kind of where it started for me.
And okay, so now that you know recovery is possible because you're in the room with all of these people and you're super emotional. So what happened next? Did you go to treatment? What path did you take?
So I would love to tell you that I just was like, yeah, like we got this. So at the time that happened, I was actually in a very abusive relationship. And I continued to, my clean date's not until 2020. So, and that was in 2018. So I continued to use, but I also continued to go back to that meeting.
That's good.
Periodically, like I would go and I had this one seat in the corner of the room. It was a small meeting. And periodically I would just show up and I would sit in that corner and I would sob because I knew it was safe for me to do so there. And I would listen, right? I would listen. And like, I saw like, other people that were clean and like, they liked, when I share my story, when I speak at meetings, I tell people that I wanted three things when I got clean, right? I wanted freedom from active addiction, right? I wanted some sort of peace because all I had ever known was chaos.
Right.
And I wanted to like who I was, because I hated myself. And I saw these people and they were clean and they like were some interesting people and they loved themselves. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are you sure you're not high? Like, and I wanted that. So I continued to go back to that meeting and just listen. And what happened was, there's more to the story that we'll get into as we go further down the questions.
Okay.
But I got out of that relationship in December of 19. And, it was a very codependent relationship. And like I said, I wanted to get clean for a while. I just didn't know how. And it certainly wasn't happening while I was with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So treatment and like halfway houses are not part of my story. So I have, my program talks about like character defects, and like I owned a small cleaning company for many years. And I managed to maintain that cleaning company while in active addiction because it fed my addiction, right? I would go, I'd do a job, I'd get the check, I'd do it get the drugs, do it the next day over and over, right? So I had to keep that going because I had to feed my habit.
Right.
So, but my pride wouldn't let me shut that down long enough to get help. And then COVID happened and God shut the world down, and stimulus checks came. I got real high. They went real quick.
Oh, wow.
And then they were talking about letting the non-essentials go back to work. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to miss my shot. I'm going to miss my window. Like, this is like, you have to change or you're going to die. So I went to someone, in my life that loved me. And I was like, this is what I need. I need you to keep my kid away from me. And I need you to feed me if I tell you I can eat. And I detoxed myself in my apartment. And it took like a month. Like, I was like dying for like a month. But like, no one
This was during COVID?
During COVID.
Okay.
And like, no one is harder on me than me. Like, I wanted to put myself through it. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to like not do it to myself again. So like, I was, and again, those character defects, my pride and ego, and like, I wouldn't go to treatment. And I'm like, I'll do it myself.
I can handle this.
I can handle it.
You're another person where COVID was a blessing for you.
Yes, and it's sad because COVID was hard on the recovery community.
Yes.
A lot of people relapsed. A lot of people died. But my recovery, I crawled out of COVID. And then, slowly but surely, they started having the outdoor meetings. And I started going. And like, I wanted what they had. And like, I remember like finding someone that I didn't even know and asking her to be my sponsor and just taking suggestions and start doing everything I could because I wanted a better life. I didn't want to, be in active addiction anymore.
Wow.
And what's your support system today in terms of like, is it like the NA, the AA,
So I work NA, Narcotics Anonymous. And like I mentioned earlier, like I have a sponsor. I sponsor other women. And then like I have just an insane support system. Like my family is supportive. That long-term.
Were they aware that this was happening?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
My mother's nickname for me was Incoherent Kayla because I couldn't hold my head up. I couldn't have a conversation with you because I was just too messed up all the time.
Wow.
If you don't mind me asking, was your daughter aware?
So my daughter's 11 now. I have 5 years clean. So
probably not.
Like I would say she wasn't like aware of like what was actually happening because it had been going on for so long that it was just normal to her. Like that's just how she thought mom was.
Right.
You consider her part of your support system now though? Especially as kids get older, you look at them.
She's my support, but she's like my inspiration.
Yeah.
Like when I have moments of weakness where I like feel like I, have those cravings or like want to get high or something, I just think about what it would do to her to not have me.
Right. Oh, well, absolutely. So what do you wish more people understood about what it really takes to recover? Like, because you're saying right now you wanted to do this on your own. Not everybody can do that on their own. So what is, just talking out into our listeners and say, what does it really take?
Well, I definitely, I didn't do it on my own. I detoxed myself on my own like an idiot.
I can't even imagine, but yes.
But I definitely, wasn't alone. There was the friends that, that were like grieving for me while I was still here.
Yes.
The one that cried for me, the one that took me to the meeting, my mother who, stepped up. And she's actually the one that I went to and was like, hey, feed me if I can eat and take care of my kid, keep my kid away from me because I'm going to be mean.
Right. It's going to be
Plus the
hard.
people in NA too.
Yes, and the people in Narcotics Anonymous, as I, as COVID kind of cleared up and I got into that, I had that support system as well. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. So just the question was, what do you wish more people understood about what it really takes to recover?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. No.
My brain goes a million different directions sometimes. But I think for a long time, like I had this moment where I like had this realization because I feel like for a long time there was always this debate of like, is addiction a choice, right? Like, is it a choice? And for the longest time, I was like, no, like I can't control what I'm doing. Like I'm, using against my own will, like the literature had said, and things like that. But I had a realization that like it is a choice. Like I had to want it. Like I had to want my recovery. Like I had to want.
That was the choice.
To stay clean. Yes.
Yes.
Like,
not to use because you wanted to. You had to choose. to want it.
Yes, I had to choose to want to be clean. And I make that conscious decision every day. Every day that I wake up, I choose not to get clean. So like, I think, what I would tell listeners is like, when I wanted to get high, I found a way to get high.
Right.
And when I wanted to get clean, I found a way to get clean. So it's really just like about like I had to sit with myself and I had to decide for myself that this was what I wanted for myself. So like if anybody's like struggling, like you have to want it for yourself and you have to choose to chase it.
I think a lot of that too, because everybody's different. And just listening to you so far, you have a lot of willpower.
I do.
Yeah. And you're a strong ass woman, which not everybody's like that. Male, female, doesn't matter. But all the people I've talked to, you have a strong willpower.
Thank you.
Which is very important. And I think that's one of the reasons you were able to, go into detox by yourself and not take the path that several others have taken as well. And that's something that's hard for people to find is the willpower.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we're weak. We're human. We want what we want, and we don't always want to be strong, especially when we're hurting.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine going through that detox alone for a month. I can't even imagine. That must have been horrible.
And, it takes a level of discipline, but like for me, and like everything I say on here is like my, just from my perspective. But it also took like a great level of desperation. Like I was just so desperate at that point to not live the way I was living and feel the way I was feeling. And after the experiences I had in the rooms and seeing other people and the way they were living and how they were like healthy, it was just something that I wanted for myself.
Well, I like the way you say that because Rachel. She's the program director
She's
for Rage.
Amazing.
And when we have new people come in, and they're still in their old ways with their old habits and their old thought patterns, the first thing that she always says is they're sick. They're sick. And you have to remember that. And then when you see that transformation, it's unbelievable.
It's profound, yes.
It really is. It's almost probably one of the most powerful things to see someone recover from the change from active use to recovery. You also have a good part of your story that now you are an advocate and you work, can I say?
I believe so, since you had talked to Christina about it and my supervisor had sent you the email. I'd assume so.
Okay. Well, just so our audience knows that Kayla is an advocate and works for the Office of the Public Defender's Office in Baltimore City.
Yes.
And I'm not really sure if we had connected prior, but you guys will send clients to Rage Against Addiction for our ABC program, which is after baby care. So you have some new moms in recovery or that are expecting, and then we provide them with some of our program basic needs. So that's kind of where we connected, although you do know a lot of people in the community around here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that because what is that like? What do you do?
So, as you mentioned, my title is a parent advocate for the Office of the Public Defender. And what that means is, so I work out of Baltimore City, and I work with mostly mothers that have SINA cases, which is when CPS gets involved and removes a child. So let's say, a mother is struggling from substance use disorder and a child is removed, they'd get a public defender. And if they choose so, they also get a me.
Okay. So you work with the moms.
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of the times cases start at the first shelter hearing, right? Because DSS will remove a child and immediately there's a court hearing to deem that it was just, taking the child.
Right.
And we step in and, I pretty much just support the mothers in any way that I possibly can. Like if substance use disorder is the issue, we'll work on getting them into treatment. We're very proactive with working with Mommy and Me programs. There was actually a law passed in October of last year that states that, and I'm not going to know the wording perfectly.
It's okay.
Well, you're not a lawyer.
Yes. No, I'm not. But that the preferred placement of a child is with mom. And if the mom can recover and have the child at the same time, that is the preferred placement.
Is that Maryland law?
Uh-huh.
I believe so,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Again, I'm not a lawyer. I could be totally wrong.
That's okay.
But yeah, so we work with the moms just to get them into treatment, get them supplies that they need, and we, the public defender's office, we really, our team of advocates, we go above and beyond. I know, on the 4th of July, I drove a pack and play to Baltimore because a mom, the Thursday prior, on the 3rd, she was granted visits for a weekend visits, and she didn't have anywhere for her 1-year-old to sleep.
Aww.
So, I was just she's like, can you get me a pack and play? So I reached out to people, got her a pack and play, and then on the morning of the 4th of July, I drove it to her so she could have her kids.
Wow.
So we show up and we show out, especially when you're working with a parent that's doing the work.
Right. Right.
So we just support them in any way that they can to,
That's good.
get reunification, get the families back together.
Well, how does your lived experience shape the way that you support the families today? Because you did not have that experience, which you very well could have in another circumstance.
Oh, absolutely. There were plenty of occasions. If I didn't have the people in the support system that I have, my child probably should have been removed from me. God willing, that's not what happened. But my lived experience allows me to just go into every situation with a perspective of empathy and just a level of understanding and patience, right? Because recovery is a process and reunification when going through the justice system is a process. And just the lived experience I have and knowing what it's like to be stuck in active addiction. And so there was a period where I was separate. I was incarcerated for a while.
Okay.
And I'll get to that. But I know what it's like to be separated from my daughter. I know what it's like to, although she wasn't taken from me, I know what it's like to sit in a cell on Mother's Day and not be with her, And again, we go over and beyond, the Mother's Day that passed, I had reached out to some of my clients and was I know it's a Sunday and I'm off, air quotes, but if you need me, you call me because I know how hard it is to want your child, to want to be there and to not be able, because I had made a mess of my life in active addiction. And my recovery, I had to clean it up.
Right.
And I know what that process looks like. And I know how hard it is.
Are most of the parent advocates that you work with, are they in recovery? Is that a prerequisite for the position? How did you get involved in that?
So most of the parent advocates, I don't know about most. We have advocates from all kinds, different walks of life. We have one advocate who actually had us in a case. She had her child removed and it was just completely different circumstances. It was awful. And she, went through it. We have advocates that are in recovery. We have advocates that just have lived experience with the system. We have the parent advocates. We have forensic peers, that is criminal peers, and they work with just incarcerated people and advocate for treatment versus incarceration.
Right.
We have juvenile peers that work with children and minors, and then we have a program called Better Together, which is the pre-petition where it's the state's getting involved, but the child hasn't been removed yet. And they go in and they try to prevent that. Like I said, it's called the Better Together program. And then, if the child is removed, that's when they get moved to the parent advocates where we get involved when it actually goes into court.
Okay. Wow. Are you a certified peer recovery coach?
I am.
Okay.
Yes, because the coach was part of it. So yes, I'm a certified peer recovery specialist.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Are they two different things?
So you have to have the peer recovery coach to get the peer recovery specialist. It's like part of it.
Okay.
So it's just like a piece to the puzzle.
You have to become a peer recovery coach first, and then afterwards you become a peer recovery specialist.
Yes. So there's like certain like CEUs that are like credits.
Right.
Continuing education.
Yeah, classes that you have to have.
With that, and I don't know if you can answer this or not.
Probably not.
You might be able to. If not, maybe Wendy can. Because I was talking to a friend of mine who's in recovery, and I mentioned about becoming a peer recovery specialist. And she says she can't because she doesn't even have her GED.
You have to have your GED.
You have to have your
yes,
GED.
You have to have your GED.
GED, not JED.
Yeah, GED.
GED.
Right. I'm dyslexic. Does that count?
Not when you're saying it.
Well, okay. So what are some common challenges that you see parents facing in the justice system, and how do you help them navigate that? Because, I mean, I'm not saying it's not just what's, them having to go through this, but like, what are the challenges? What does it look like for a mom is it a wake up call or is it not?
So unfortunately, I've seen it go both ways. Sometimes your child is all you have to live for. And even though you may be using, you may still be like trying to keep a cap on it for that kid. And then they take the kid and it's just like, oh, here we go now. Like, I'm just going to free reins.
Right.
And then in other cases, it can be a bit of a wake up call. Of course, there are many challenges when in the justice system, but I think the biggest,
I guess that's
one of the, in my opinion, just from my perspective, one of the biggest challenges is time, right? Because it is not a fast process by any means. Like, most reunification cases take a year plus. So, and it's difficult because I've worked with parents that, they get clean and they're doing everything right and they're in the program and they're in the Mommy and Me and they're doing all the things. And the justice system doesn't want to give them anything. Like, it's like, you start. So when your child is removed, they'll start by giving you supervised visits. So you'll do like an hour a week supervised visits with your child. And then as you progress, then they'll give you unsupervised visits. And then as you progress, they'll give you overnight visits. And then after that, they'll look at reunification.
okay.
But you have these parents that are doing everything right. And the system is like, hey, I want you to have 6 months clean before we even give you an unsupervised visit. Like,
is that a case-by-case situation? Is that up to the judge?
I don't. I mean, you maybe. I don't even think it's that. I think it's just like you said, the time thing. It's almost like a time by time.
Yeah, and the problem I see is like I see, parents that are just doing everything they can, and because of the time it takes and how slow the process is, they get discouraged. They're like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm doing everything they tell me. I'm doing everything they want from me, and I'm not getting anywhere. So like, just having the patience, and like, although I haven't had a Senna case, I've been through a very slow process myself that took a long time to get through. And like, I kind of understand how difficult it can be to like wait it out. Like, one day at a time is like a very serious like thing to go by, because it can be very challenging.
Yes. And we have women in our houses that have children that obviously are living with family members or their father or someone other than them. And I can see the toll that it takes on them, because they have to go through the process of that recovery, which we were talking about earlier, is like, it is a process and it takes time. And day 1 is not the same as day 30 and day 60 and day 90, because you continue to grow.
Right.
So in your opinion, what needs to change in the system to better support families impacted by addiction and incarceration?
Throw the whole system away and start over.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
You know what though? I agree with you 110% there. I do. Seriously.
We need to do better.
Yeah. It ain't just that. There's a lot of systems out there. Just start from scratch.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, that's probably not an option. But that's what
It's not It's not reality, because then what will we have? Chaos.
Yeah, but the other thing is too, you can't just put a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
And that's the problem. A lot of things, they'll just put a Band-Aid on it, and that doesn't fix the problem.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, like, the children don't need to be pulled back and forth. So
Right.
they need to make sure that if they're putting them back into the care of their parent, that it's the right timing as well. So I can understand that, but I can also see how with some women, like you said, that's their motivation. And when they don't have their children, it's hard.
It's also hard. Yeah, and it's very hard on the
I don't
kids
think there's
too.
a one size fit all answer,
No.
but
No, there's really not. If I had to give, there's so many things that could probably be changed that would be beneficial. One thing that I see a lot that's very frustrating for me being on my end is the caseworkers that, when your child's removed, you're assigned a caseworker. And I wish that there was I don't know, like a better training system or something for these caseworkers that, go in and kind of remove the child, and then they're responsible for setting up the visits and monitoring everything, and they monitor the parent, they monitor the parent's recovery.
you don't feel they're qualified?
Define qualified, because
Right.
you could be qualified on paper, but not in the mind.
That exactly. Qualified on they
They have the degree,
Right.
and then they think that they know what's best.
right, and they don't have the
They don't have
lived
the experience.
to understand or really see what's I can see profound progress, right? Because I've been there and I've walked it and I've lived it, but they don't see it.
Right.
So it's it's almost like a barrier for the parent, because the caseworker has just a completely just one-sided perspective, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
No, it makes
no,
perfect
it-
sense.
it
You got to have
does.
an open mind.
Well,
sorry.
that's okay. Well, yes.
See, she kicked me.
No, I did.
I kicked you. That was my foot.
Oh, you both kicked me.
Oh, we both kicked.
Wow.
So their system obviously is broken. And, I don't think that we're going to be able to fix that anytime soon. But there are success stories, obviously. So can you share a moment in your advocacy work where you were really moved, or remind you of why you do the work that you do?
So I read that question, right? And I think my answer to that question is not what you're expecting.
Okay.
And here's the thing. So again, reunification takes a very long time. And I've been working with the public defender's office since November. And I have not had a client reunify yet.
Okay.
Wow.
I did, however, so I had a client that, I was with her from day one. I remember the hearing, the shelter hearing came in. I got the call. I reached out to her. They had taken the baby from her at the hospital. We got her into a mommy and me program. She got clean. She did really well. And actually at 2 months in, they agreed to let her have her daughter at one of the mommy and me programs, which is insane because they don't do that.
That's a little
Right.
quick.
That's
in your opinion.
That's quick. And it was partially because of that law that was passed that they allowed the baby to join mom.
Better together.
No, the law we had mentioned earlier that is the presumption that the baby should be with mom while
Okay.
mom recovers.
Right.
So like at about 2 months in, they let her have, the child with her on the stipulation that she stayed clean. She stayed in the Mommy and Me program, all the things. Like I worked with her, I visited her, all the things. And unfortunately, she relapsed a few weeks after they gave the baby back. So they took the baby again. And, she switched to a different treatment facility. And last month she passed away.
Oh, no.
man.
I'm sorry.
So I got, and again, I know that's probably not the answer.
Yeah, where is this the feel-good story?
So this is not a feel-good,
Okay.
but
it's truth.
it's truth. And when I got the call from the attorney that told me that she had passed, it was just a reminder, right? And I was taught something. I was taught that we don't take the credit when they win, right? Because they put in the work. But we also don't take the blame when they lose. But like her passing was just like a reminder of like how profound and how real the disease of addiction is. And how badly people like me are needed, right? Because some of these women, they have no one. They have no one.
Yes.
And like, of course, I went through all the feelings and emotions, feeling like I should have done more or I failed her or whatever the case may be, because I had such high hopes for this young lady. And it was just that monumental moment of like I am needed. Like, this is real. Like, this is serious. And
It is. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for doing what you do. For sure.
If you don't mind me asking, because I've had similar things happen actually just last year. And yeah, I put the blame on myself a lot. What did you do that day when you got home for yourself? Do you remember?
Well, so the team I work with is amazing. So I mean, I cried.
Right.
And I ate a lot of food. I cried and I ate a lot of food. But I had reached out to one of my supervisors that I'm pretty close with, and they're like, take the rest of the day off and, take that time for yourself. And I think it was just giving myself some grace. Because, immediately I'm like, I should have done more. I should have visited her more. I should have I knew she was struggling. I should have stayed on her. I shoulda. But at the end of the day, I did what I could, and I can't take the blame.
No.
But I can, take the pain that I was feeling and I can give it purpose. And I think that's what a lot of my story has been, is I have been through so much, and I find myself not so much anymore, but for a very long time, I would ask God why. And me being of service and showing up for other addicts is why.
Is your why.
Is my why. I take the pain that I've been through and I give it purpose. And I support others that are, kind of going through it.
So with that, with the child, and I guess with the work you do, you have no idea what happens next with the child, right?
No. So I know that the child was placed with a person of her choice.
Okay.
It was like a family friend that has the baby. So I don't know what happens from there. I know the dad is still, alive and is trying to get. So my assumption would be that the dad would continue to pursue having custody.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It is, but because I'm thinking with somebody like you that's caring for the mother all this time and doing everything you can, and I guess you really don't get that connection with the child.
No, I'll often,
it's just the mother.
Yeah, I'd like to put it this way. Of course, the kids matter.
Yeah.
But it's mom's. No, I don't want to say job, but I care about mom.
Right.
And I show up for mom so mom can show up for the child.
Right.
Like me showing up for mom allows that child to have their mother because mom needs someone to show up for her too. So if I focus on mom and I show up for mom, it allows mom to show up for baby.
Which is a good thing. That's what I was trying to get to, because, and I don't know if like CPS does this or not, where they appoint somebody to that particular child. But if you were trying to work with both mom and the child, or sometimes children,
right,
that's a lot on you, which could really affect your job, and you wouldn't be able to do your job at 100%, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you're assigned to the mom, and I like that though. I feel like that's actually
That's the way it
wise.
should be, yeah.
It is, because a lot of people in early recovery, it takes them a long time to get that trust back from family members, and they don't always have a very big support system.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're alone. Yeah, they really are. That's okay.
So, Kayla, what were some of the challenges in early recovery?
Okay. Well, one of my biggest challenges in early recovery. So, like I had mentioned, being in an abusive relationship for many years. And this was kind of like my bottom, right? In June or July of 2019, about a year before I got clean, I was just mentally, emotionally, physically, I was just depleted in every way that I could. And I was still in this abusive relationship. And one day I was, arguing with my significant other at the time, and we were in a parking lot, and something in me just snapped, and I hit him with my car.
Oh.
Right. I just hit him with my car.
And was he okay?
He was okay. He got up and walked away. He actually, hit the hood of my car and rolled into my windshield, and he was a big man and he caved my windshield in.
Wow.
And, it's interesting because when I tell this story, at meetings and things like that, people will, I'll have women that are like, yeah, you're my hero, right? And, I get different responses.
Right.
People are like, you did what? And then other women are like, yeah, good for you.
Right, about time, right.
And
did you back up and check?
It's, right. And it's in some cases, it was, even though I did it, it was traumatizing to me as well, because it was just.
What am I capable of?
Right. And, when people are like, good for you, blah, 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 I like to follow with, and I look at them and I'm like, yeah, good for me, except for the fact that my daughter, who was 5 at the time, was in the back seat when I did it.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
And that was my bottom. Okay. That was where my addiction took me. And like I had mentioned, there were plenty of reasons. The fact that CPS didn't take her is just
at that time.
At that time, it just blew my mind, right?
So he pressed charges?
So what happened was he got up and he walked away, right? And at that point, I was concerned for my daughter. There was a towel in the car. I remember covering her with a towel so the glass didn't get on her, and I tried to get the car somewhere, and no charges were pressed at that time. In the state of Maryland, you have a year and a day to press charges on somebody. I had gotten away from him in December of 19, and it was, again, I fought fire with fire, clearly, but it was a very abusive kind of controlling relationship. And I think when he realized that he was losing that control over my life, it was one last play to regain that control.
Mm-hmm.
And on January 20th of 2020, he went to the commissioner and he pressed charges on me for hitting him with a car.
Wow.
And at the time, I was angry with him. I was like, how could you do that to me? Go away. Leave
Right.
me.
I'm living my life now.
I'm living my life. I'm getting away from you. Why do you have to? Yes. I'm like, why do you have to do this? Just let me
Was there communication between you two after there was the breakup? I mean, was he still involved in your life, or was this just like out of nowhere?
So it was such a short period. Like we had stopped, like I had kind of ceased communication in December of 19.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a few weeks later, January 20th, that he had gone and pressed the charges, because I think he realized that I was done. And then like when he pressed the charges, I was even more done than I thought I was.
Right.
But by the grace of God, and like, you know, I like to think that I'm very connected with what we call in Narcotics Anonymous, my higher power that I choose to call God, right? Because I thought I was abandoned for such a long time. But like having the clean time that I have now and being able to look back, I realized that God was really there for me. I was not charged. I should have been charged with attempted murder.
Wow.
And I was not. I was charged with second-degree assault. And how that happened, I don't know. How my child was not removed, I don't know. Like, all I can really sum it up to was like my higher power
looking over you.
Right. And, you know, I had made a mess in active addiction, and like I didn't get clean because of court. And some people do. And if that's your story, good for you.
Right.
Like if that's what it took, like I support you. Like I didn't go to rehab, but if that's what works for you, like I support you. But I had made such a mess in active addiction, like I had to clean it up. Like some people, they get clean and they get this pink cloud and it's like butterflies and rainbows for them. And like, if that's your story, then fuck you. Just kidding. If that's your story, good for you.
Right.
But that was not my story.
You had to clean up your mess.
Right. And what happened was I had gotten clean during COVID while the court systems were closed. And then like courts reopened and I had to go to court. And I was sentenced to 6 months, which really is nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
It is nothing for what I did.
And he wasn't hurt though, right?
No, he got up and walked away. He was fine.
I mean, the impact though, to break the windshield seems like a lot.
Yeah. And when we went to court, he complained that he had like issues with his knee, but like he was using. As was I. Like I believe he had taken money from me that day and he just wanted to get what he needed and
that's why you ran him over.
It was a whole thing. I think it was just something in me snapped.
Right.
But anyway, to kind of sum it up, I had gotten, well, actually it was a total of 7 months. I had done like 30 days straight. There was a false statement charge as well. So I had done 30 days straight for the false statement charge. And then they had given me like a couple months to prepare for the 6 months. And me, having my pride and ego, got an attorney, spent money I didn't have, filed an appeal, and ended up with the same 6 months. But the judge allowed me to serve that sentence in weekends.
Oh, nice. And
I chose to take the weekends so I could stay involved with my daughter, so I could continue working a program, and for keep my company, and for all the reasons. But for those of you that don't know, it takes 2 years to serve a 6-month sentence on the weekends. So for the first 2 years of my recovery, every week for 48 hours, I went to the detention center and I sat for 48 hours.
Wow.
And I take that like and it just happened to be that year that every holiday possible fell on the weekends. And because it was so many weekends, I actually chose to do them Saturday to Monday. I was home Christmas morning, but Christmas Day, I had to, that day I had to turn myself in on Christmas. I think that hurt my mom more than it hurt me. Like I was glad to be there that morning with my daughter.
Right.
But like Mother's Day, Easter, like all the things, like I remember, like I missed Halloween, and like the following year, I took my daughter trick-or-treating and it was like wet and raining and cold and all the parents are like complaining, and I'm walking behind my daughter sobbing because I was just so grateful to be clean and to like get to watch her trick-or-treat. And that experience helps me support the women that I work with, because when I tell you I felt like that process would never end, I felt like that process would never end.
I can imagine.
But it did, right? And I stayed resilient. And like I had a sponsor that got step work in, the jail for me, and I did step work. And, I learned that like, my resentments, because I resented him, right, for pressing the charges. And like something I learned through working the steps of the program I work is that you're not allowed to hit people with cars. Like, it doesn't matter if he pressed the charges. If I had not done what I had done, like I took accountability. And that was difficult. But like there's so many lessons and so much, like just that process alone took so much out of me, and it took so much time. And like I know it's different, but I see it in the faces of these women who are trying to get their kids back, and they're doing what they should be, like I was, staying clean, doing my weekends, going to probation. Like I was doing all the things, and the process felt so slow, and it took such a toll on me. And I see the same pain in their faces as they're going through that process, and it just feels like there's no end in sight, but there is. So it's just profound. I understand like different circumstances, but I understand what it's like to be tied into a system that feels like there's no end in sight. And I'm proof that there is an end in sight. And like the life I live today, like I help other people. Like I said, I'm getting married to someone that's really nice to me. Like, it's just the life
sweet.
I have today is worth the patience and the resilience.
And it's
God's plan worked out.
Yes.
and it's a result of all the hard work that you put into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, I know everybody has a different recovery story, and I know it's not easy. And then you giving back to the community that you work with is also, I think, one of the most important things that we can do when we're an advocate is just to take that lived experience and give it to others and watch it grow.
Yeah.
I have one question. What's the next big thing for Kayla besides the wedding?
I mean, if we're looking at like materialistic things, like we're working on purchasing a home, which is like profound.
A big deal.
Yeah.
A big deal. But really, like the big thing for me is just being clean and showing up. Like every day is a big thing. Like every time, I'm about to celebrate 5 years. Like that's such a milestone. Like I get overwhelmed thinking about it because
You've accomplished a lot in 5 years.
I never thought. And just, and I'm not going to lie, like the last year has been tough. Like I've gone through some things, and I've had some moments where like I thought that I wasn't going to make it.
Aw.
And I did. So really like the big thing for me is just continuously like working on myself and learning who I am and loving myself and being there for my kid and my soon to be husband, and just living a healthy, normal life. Like that is the big thing. That is the big thing.
And I love that you said that. I remember, this is going to be kind of strange, but I remember I was an Oprah girl, like, back when I was a teenager. An Oprah girl. I'd come home from school and I'd watch Oprah because they had, that was on like 4 o'clock or whatever.
I thought she said Uber girl. I'm like,
Oprah.
Oprah.
Yeah.
I thought she said Oprah, but you're talking about coming home from high school?
Yeah. Yes. Anyway,
Oprah.
so I remember she had done an interview with this woman who was
Oprah was on that long ago?
yes. Ha ha ha. And it was, the woman had gone through just a terrible, terrible situation. I mean, she was part of a war-torn country, just, raped, all of these horrible, horrible, horrible things. And I remember Oprah saying to her, because I was like, wow, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And she said, so what are your dreams? And, now that she's on the other side of this traumatic life that she had lived, and, I'm thinking, I want to be a movie star. I want to, I want to write a book. And she said, I just want to get a job, maybe in an office.
Wow.
And I was young because I was like, ambitious. I'm like in high school, like with the future is ahead of me. Right. And it was so impactful because what some people would just take for granted as being mundane, that was her dream, to be able to just be safe. And so you remind me of that in what you just said. And I think that is beautiful. Like, we don't have to be reaching for the stars every second. Just keep your feet on the ground and, you'll be okay.
This is the dream.
Yeah.
Being clean and having a normal life is
Why
the
are
dream.
you looking perplexed?
What year did you graduate?
Oh my
We're
gosh.
not talking
let it
about
go.
this. Look, I got gray hair, girl. Yes.
Well, no, I'm just trying to think because I remember Oprah being on Baltimore News doing
Yeah, I do
news here.
too. Yeah, I do too. I don't know.
You might have been in school when she had her talk show.
Okay, whatever.
And just to,
And maybe it was a rerun. I don't know.
we don't know.
That's not the point.
But just to piggyback off that, really, I know we're out of time, but just to piggyback off of that, it's interesting because I actually got together yesterday with, two ladies that I sponsor and a group of other women that were in recovery, and we got food and we went to the pool and we just played games, like a card game, and we just enjoyed each other's company. And we took a moment. I was like, guys, can we just take a moment to be like, because I have to be that person that's like, let's just take a moment really quick to be grateful that we're all clean and that we have this. And I remember when I had, in early recovery, I had gone to somebody's house and we had a game night, and we sat and with a group of women in recovery and we played Cards Against Humanity or something. And I remember crying tears of joy because I so badly wanted to be normal. And I didn't understand what it was like to have that, to just meet with other people and sit and play card games. What is that? I'm not on the street.
Or have to leave or need to go.
Yes, and it was just me and the women yesterday were talking about how profound that is when all you've known your whole life is chaos. To have that is just,
and that goes back to what I just said.
Yeah, it's the dream. To have that normalcy.
Yeah, it wasn't
the dream.
That was unattainable to her at that time.
You said something very important there, too. You say you just took a moment to be great and asked, can we all just be grateful for a moment? And I think a lot of people, whether they're in recovery or not, they don't take the time to do that. And I don't know why, but it's hard for a lot of people.
Well,
I do the same
Let
thing.
me say this. I'm not in recovery. I don't know if you know my story. I founded Rage because I lost my daughter. It'll be 10 years this December. But I'll get hot and bothered when I talk about that. But anyway, my experience with the ladies, through Rachel and the Rage houses, people in recovery, the ones who are doing it, I've never seen so much gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
It is the most beautiful thing. And other people don't have that.
No, gratitude is how I live and breathe. It's literally I've been going through a lot with living situations. And like I said, we're trying to buy a house. And I actually I've been kind of ungrateful lately. And a few days ago, I think I had the realization. And I'm like, you are not grateful. Stop it. Be so grateful.
Right, exactly.
It may not be what you want, but
it's not what you had.
It's not what you had. So I had to kind of come to and was knock it off. Be grateful for what you have. Yeah. And then even my daughter, the women I work with that don't have their children, I walk home and my daughter is, or I go home and my daughter is there and she has me, and it's just there is always so much to be grateful for.
I'll give you a little routine to try. I do it every day, and believe me, it helps.
Okay.
Every morning when you wake up, before you even get out of bed, just say something that you're grateful for.
Oh, I hate getting out of bed. So, give me a little more time to stay in bed. I need a while to think about this.
Seriously, I mean, I do every morning. I'll grab my angel, say a prayer. I call it my grateful rock that my daughter got me.
Oh,
Hold it, say something I'm grateful for, and then I'll forgive something, whether it's a person, something that happened.
I love that.
And then I'll get up out of bed and make the coffee.
Too.
I love that.
And
say a prayer, something you're grateful for, and forgive something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See, I come up with some good things.
You forgive me for
sometimes.
kicking you under the table?
I don't know. Some things you just
Absolutely
cannot
not.
forgive someone for.
Tomorrow, maybe tomorrow.
No, I'll let you slide.
Oh, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Of course.
In honor of National Recovery Month, we thank you and we, celebrate you and all of the people that you help. And it really means a lot for you to tell your story.
Thank you.
And we're grateful for you.
And we are.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful for you too, Rich.
Yeah, all right. Now you're pushing it.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Wendy, I understand that Rage Against Addiction is doing something very important, a monthly donor program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. We are hoping to get our supporters to join us in providing a monthly donation. It can be $5 or it can be more. Whatever you can afford really allows us to help plan and increase our fundraising efforts.
Well, why should people become a monthly donor? What are they doing to help?
Their monthly contributions let us plan for long-term projects and respond quickly when urgent needs arise. And I'll give you an example. Mm-hmm. We had the need for a new mattress.
Right.
And we've also had urgent needs for refrigerators and washing machines and all of that kind of stuff that comes up. So they tend to need to be replaced, and our women deserve to have the things that they need.
So with the monthly donor program, technically anybody can do it for any amount, and because Rage Against Addiction always needs something. And
Yes.
I've known you for years now, and there's times you've told me you guys needed furniture, you need clothes, and also you're not getting the grants that you used to or the contributions that you used to. So this monthly donor program would definitely help a lot.
Yes.
So if somebody becomes a monthly donor, is there anything that they're getting in return? Besides, of course, helping those that need it. I know you guys have an excellent newsletter. Would they automatically be subscribed to
we'll
that?
subscribe you to our newsletter so you'll know what's going on. You can kind of track our progress, hear success stories, know the data and like how many women we serve each year, and just be a part of something bigger.
So with this too, I guess they're also going to be, because of the newsletter, they're going to be one of the first ones to find out about events coming up like the Memory Walk and Run, the Basket Bingo, and any other future events that you're doing, the podcast that you do.
Yes.
So they're going to be tied in right away.
Yes.
All right. So how can they become a monthly donor?
You can go to our website, and that is rageagainstaddiction.org, and go to our donate button. And on there, you will have the option to become a monthly donor, and you can put in any amount that you want. Your commitment, big or small, empowers our mission and changes lives every single day. Visit us at rageagainstaddiction.org to become a reoccurring donor and join us in making a lasting impact. Thank you for your compassion, generosity, and belief in a brighter future. Together, we can make a difference. Join us today.